What if I told you you could quickly build your confidence when riding off-road on adventure bikes simply by learning from other people's mistakes? Well, fortunately for you, today I'm going to share with you 4 of the biggest beginner adventure riding mistakes I see when riding off-road. And it starts right here in this corner. Let's go break it down. All right, so the first and probably the biggest mistake that I see from beginner riders is simply sitting down too much. This is nice and comfortable on the road, but when we're talking off-road, we need to get up and on the pegs. And the reason is that the bike is gonna handle so much better. We're gonna have the suspension working better. The shock isn't compressed. The brakes are gonna work better. Everything is gonna handle so much smoother and in a controlled manner when we're standing up on the bike. Not only that, but we can move our bodies around to make sure we have the optimal balance. In this corner I'm in right now, I'll see many beginner riders sit down, knees pointing outwards, maybe even a foot dangling off the bike as well. This is a big no-no. It's gonna have less stability, which means less traction and less control of the bike. Instead, if we stand up, we can get our butt back. We can stop that back end sliding around and kicking out uncontrollably. We can also allow the suspension to work properly, and we can shift our body weight, creating more stability and traction to the ground. So the next big mistake I see many beginner adventure riders make is simply looking down at the front wheel. It's not going to help you. Instead, we want to keep our head up, making sure that it's center over the bike at all times. Our bike and our body might be moving underneath us, but the head is always nice and stable. With our eyesight, we want to make sure that we're tracking the trail ahead, looking forward to see what obstacles are coming up, but also making a glance in front of us as well, so we can get a good idea of what our front wheel is about to hit. For example, if I'm looking down the trail, I can see a log is coming. That is great, but when it gets closer to me, that's when I know really how big it is, whether I need to jump over it or I need to go around it. So it's really important to make sure that not only are you keeping your head stable above the bike and your body, but you're also constantly tracking the trail in front of you. So we just finished riding up this hill behind me here. It was really loose and windy, had a couple of little jumps on it as well. And it really reminded me of what the next problem I see is with beginner riders. And that is when things get technical, they tend to shut off the throttle. This is a real big problem because the throttle is where our momentum comes from and how we create grip down to the floor. On these big bikes in particular, grip is so important, as is that momentum to keep the bike upright. As soon as you shut off, you lose that momentum, you begin to break traction, and the weight of that bike is really, really felt. It's going to be very easy coming up a hill to shut off and for the bike to fall over. So remember, when things get scary, whether you're going up a hill or you're going through maybe a sandy patch, make sure you stay calm, keep the momentum up, keep the throttle smooth, and power your way through it. Trust the bike to do the work for you. All right, so let's say that you didn't actually follow that last tip I gave you. Well, now you're heading up a hill, it's starting to get a little bit scary, you turn off the throttle, even though I told you not to, and now you're losing momentum. The bike begins to feel really heavy, it's starting to fall, and we're in this position where the bike is really heavy and we're trying to hold it up with our leg. When really, we should just let it go and let it fall. There's no point of trying to hold up these big heavy monsters because you're not going to be able to do it, especially after a big long day and you're absolutely knackered. Instead, you want to notice that the bike is going to fall, plan your exit, let it fall, and live to fight another day. What we don't want is us trying to hold these bikes up and instead getting our legs caught under them, and that's when accidents can happen. There's lots of times I've seen that happen, and people walk out with often broken ankles or broken legs even. So if you see the bike is going to fall, let it do so and plan your exit. And if you are a new adventure rider or you've just got yourself a new motorcycle, check out this video right here where I break down some of my favorite gear that I wish I bought sooner.